members of this body, I have with me today Megan Bugg, who is a page for the day, but more importantly, we have her down here in support of House Resolution 1071. It recognizes Megan Bugg from Coal City, Illinois, and supports the much-needed funding for childhood cancer research. Megan is here on the floor with me, and her father, Dr. Kent Bugg, and her grandparents, Sandra and Jim Bugg, are with us in the gallery as well. Megan is no ordinary 17-year-old teenager. No. In fact, I believe she is extraordinary in many different ways. This smart, loving, determined young lady is fighting for her life. And even when the odds are against her, she has kept a positive attitude and a desire to ensure that children in the future no longer have to experience what she had to. That no parents must take their child to chemotherapy treatments and emergency room visits, and that no family loses their child to this terrible disease. Megan was first diagnosed with stage 4 ARMS, a soft tissue childhood cancer, on December 26, 2014, when she was just 13 years old. Her parents saw a lump on her left forearm on Christmas Day, and after visiting with her pediatrician, the next day she was sent to Central DuPage Hospital, where she was diagnosed. Megan's oncologist said that she was one of the worst cases that they had ever seen. Since that time, Megan has gone through 90 weeks of intense chemotherapy, and most of those chemotherapy drugs she got were developed over 20 years ago, because there have been virtually no new childhood cancer chemotherapy drugs discovered, in large part due to the lack of funding. For most children fighting childhood cancer like Megan, their treatments are the same as they were from the 1970s. But during that same time, our country has made tremendous advances in the treatments for breast cancer, prostate cancer. Why? In large part because of the money allocated by the federal government to finding a cure. Megan shared some startling information with me during our first visit. Like, did you know that only 3.8% of federal funding for all cancer research is dedicated to childhood cancer? Although some might justify that small amount of money by saying that childhood cancer is rare compared to other cancers, such as breast cancer, prostate cancer, we believe that when you consider the total number of productive years saved by curing childhood cancer, we need more funding for the kids. The average age that a person gets prostate cancer is 66 years old, but the average age of childhood cancer is only 6 years old. If the kids are really our future of our country, then we have to do more to save them from the nightmare of fighting childhood cancer. And I call it a nightmare because if you talk to any of the survivors, any of the families that have gone through this, it is not easy, and it can feel like a nightmare at times. Megan has lost way too many friends to this disease, and it has to stop. We can do better. Besides 90 weeks of chemotherapy, Megan's own personal story includes over 125 radiation treatments, 3 surgeries, and a 9-day stay in the intensive care unit, where she almost died due to an infection caused by chemotherapy treatments. And countless side effects from the treatments, including permanent nerve damage in her feet, nausea, hair loss, heart damage, continuing stomach issues, memory loss, and hormone damage, including the fact that she very well may be infertile. Most recently, Megan has relapsed for the 3rd time, as she now has a tumor in her chest near her aorta that her doctors are currently working to determine how to treat. Because treatments for childhood cancer are so old and so limited, Megan is out of chemotherapy options and will most likely have to count on a clinical trial for treatment. However, because of funding is so limited, there is only one clinical trial across the entire country that she qualifies for. Not only has Megan suffered a great deal herself, but she has watched far too many of her friends and their families suffer from this disease. So here we are today, Megan has made it her mission to raise awareness and funding to support childhood cancer so no more kids have to go through what she has gone through. Megan's father, Dr. Bugg, who joins us, is our local school superintendent, and he started a blog not long after Megan was diagnosed. It's called Megan Bugg's Journey, where he has shared their stories, the ups and downs. As a community, we have followed along for years now, sometimes laughing with them and also crying with them along the way. There are times it's hard to read, but I can tell you with complete certainty, there are more times this blog has inspired our community by the determination that Megan has displayed. Megan has partnered with Lurie's Children's Hospital in Chicago to support important and promising research on childhood cancer being conducted by Dr. Welter House. Megan has engaged our entire community to help raise funds to date. Megan has raised over $83,000 to support his research. Her goal right now is $100,000. But think of that. Think of this. So the only trial in this country that can potentially save this girl's life, she is raising funds and may become part of those trials. She is literally raising money to save her life. Although Megan is excited and honored to do her part to end this awful disease, she knows she can't do it alone. The victims of childhood cancer should not be responsible for raising the money to discover their own treatments. The kids need our help, and they especially need the help of our federal legislators to focus on the importance of curing childhood cancer. Megan believes, and so do I, that our country has shown that when we put our minds to something, we can accomplish anything. We must do better for these kids, and we must make funding and new trials a priority at the federal level. And that's why this calls to action to our federal legislators to take a look at and more appropriately fund childhood cancer research. I respectfully ask for your support on House Resolution 1071 and for supporting the 43 kids each day in our country who learn the devastating news that they are about to travel the same road that Megan has for the past 3.5 years. So if you would, please join me in welcoming Megan to her capital and for the amazing work that she is doing to raise awareness about childhood cancer and the need for resources in fighting this disease.